The New Orleans Saints said it was too damn hot.
Oh, my God.
The New Orleans Saints told Saints fans, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here.
Oh, my God.
The New Orleans Saints take practice inside, the very last practice that is open to the fans. I've been telling people for weeks, who that nation, that New Orleans is a completely different beast when it comes to that heat. I've been saying this time after time after time. All my people out there that's from the city, that's from the boot in general, you know that it can get really, really hot.
Oh, it's too hot, too hot, too hot, lady.
It is hot in New Orleans. Like, for those that may not be from there, probably a fan of the team, when you touch down in the boot, when you touch down in New Orleans, it's a completely different type of heat. Like, I'm telling you, I have friends that I went to Jackson State University with. I took them to New Orleans for the first time to a Mardi Gras. And as soon as we got out that car and we were walking, I had a friend that collapsed to the ground.
Oh, my God.
He could not beat the heat.
Oh, my God.
So when I tell you that it's hot in New Orleans, it is hot who that nation. But Dennis Allen has some thinking to do. He has to figure out, how can you have a productive practice and also be able to put some work in outdoors? Because the New Orleans Saints, they have to have practice outdoors. Even though the New Orleans Saints will play at least 9 games every single season inside of the Superdome. And when I say that is because, you know, of course, they play against the Falcons, and that's pretty much a home game in itself.
Oh, my God.
So the New Orleans Saints got 9 dome games that are home games that they play every single year. But you have to be able to learn and practice outside. And of course, you have the Houston Texans that will be coming into town that the New Orleans Saints will be having joint practices with. So what do you do? What do you do? Now, I know that Saints fans want to go out there and see their favorite players, but you have to err on the side of precaution.
Oh, my God.
You got to make sure that your players are well taken care of. And I'm not trying to see some of the best players in the league go out there and pass out because it's too doggone hot. So what do? Do you keep practice in New Orleans? Or do you try to find a place like Sean Payton did out there in West Virginia, which brings a lot of bad memories? It's one of those situations where it can get a little tough. It can get a little hot. And it can get a little frustrating as well. So the only thing that I would say is, you have to err on the side of precaution. You have to make sure that you're taking care of these players. And I'm okay with practice being somewhere else. Like, we see the Dallas Cowboys go to Ochsner, California every single year. We see these teams that reside in certain places that are extremely hot move on and go to different places to be able to practice, to be able to get some work in. Because the New Orleans Saints, they need to get that work in. We know that they have a lot of talent on this team. But in order for you to get where you need to be, you have to make sure that you are prepared. You have to make sure that you're prepared for any situation, no matter what it is. And we know that you have a lot of new players on a team that needs to develop a level of chemistry. And you also have to understand situational football. I want people to understand, when you say situational football, it just does not just mean on defense or offense. We're talking about weathering the storms, in the rain, in the heat, and situations that really test your resolve. So the New Orleans Saints need to be able to get to these practices and be able to have these practices outdoors. But we heard Dennis Allen, if you didn't check out his press conference, he said that he wants to do some outside practices, but he also is looking to do practices in the dome, in closed elements. This is something that we have to keep an eye on, Who Dat Nation. You have to keep an eye on it, man, because this type of stuff could be a factor later on when guys are a little bit more comfortable, right? And when they go outside into uncomfortable situations, will they be prepared for it? Dennis Allen has got to make the best decision. It's a tough decision, but that's why you get paid the big bucks.
Oh, my God.
I also have to talk a little bit about what happened with Kareem Hunt. We were all excited, man. We were clapping our hands. We were really fired up because we thought the New Orleans Saints had the best backfield in the league. Yes, we thought that the New Orleans Saints were about to get the 6th Infinity Stone.
Oh, my God.
We thought that the New Orleans Saints were about to take care of business in the backfield.
Oh, my God.
But Kareem Hunt decides to go to Indianapolis because Indianapolis wanted to give him more money.
Get your hand out of my pocket.
The Indianapolis Colts were hating on the
Get your
Saints.
hand out of my pocket.
But I'm not mad at the situation. Once again, I respect the hustle of the New Orleans Saints, and I also respect the hustle of the Indianapolis Colts. They understand that there's an issue going on with Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in the league, and you want to get a really good complimentary back. And the Indianapolis Colts, they've had some really good complimentary backs to Jonathan Taylor. Guys like Hines, guys like that. They had guys that can go out there and make some things happen. And you bring in a guy like Kareem Hunt, who probably was willing to embrace being one of the contributors to the backfield of the Saints, but he has a better chance of being on the field in Indianapolis.
Oh, my God.
So I'm not mad at Kareem. Get your money.
Get your hand out of my pocket.
And continue to work, man, because I like Kareem Hunt. But the New Orleans Saints, they straight. They got your boy Jamal
It's all
Williams.
dog around this mug.
They got your boy Kendra
It's
Miller.
all dog around this mug.
And after 3 games, after coming back from a suspension, they got A.K. Alvin Kamara.
It's all dog around this mug.
So the Saints are going to be all right. They're going to be all right. But what the hell are they going to do with this heat?
Oh, it's too hot, lady.
Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints Podcast. Also, check out facebook.com, search Gumbo Pot Sports. Okay, make sure you check that out. Thank you all so much for your love and your support. Thank you for checking out this video and continue to support the State of the Saints Podcast. We will continue to talk about some of the heat that the Saints are dealing with, as well as other Saints news around training camp. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?